So, yeah, I wanted to start off, like, as far as, like, a cold open, just anything interesting or any kind of funny things that you guys have witnessed this last week. One thing that I remembered, I don't think I've told any of you guys, when we went down to Vegas, we were sitting at the convention, and I was sitting down while we were listening to the interview, and I looked over, big fat guy, pulls in his arms into his yellow, and as always, I don't know what it is, like fat people, they get a shirt, there's no logos on it. It's just solid colors, like undershirts.
It's the only thing you can get in
Yeah,
XL.
because they don't make them that big.
Exactly. It's
just
that big and tall, dog.
They just stapled sheets together. So anyways, he slid both his arms inside, and he went down his body and just kind of like tucked his fingers under his fat because it was kind of getting cold because they had like mega AC, and after you sit down, you kind of just stop warming up. And he just tucked his fingers under his fat, and he was just sitting there like holding his gut while he was just like listening to the interview. And I just like remember looking over, taking a double take, and like,
So he's literally just sticking his hands in his fat to warm his fingers.
Dude, what the F? That's so gross.
yeah, for a second I was like, ugh!
No, imagine how sweaty, like, how far was this into the convention? Like,
Oh, it was day two.
day two.
Like,
What time, though?
we're like 1:30ish.
Oh,
1:30
so he
to
was...
two.
Is that at the like speaker or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like 4 seats away. I was like, I will make sure I don't give him a high five at all.
Dog, you should have gone up and just... Well, he was under.
Yeah, this boy freaking talked to the developer as well of Magic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I talked to the
There's a
creator
clip out
of Richard
there.
Garfield. I have a video of it. I basically asked him, I was like, why is Magic broken? And it's trash.
Nah,
And I was
your-
like,
your-
do you see
your
an
question was
eventual
really
cliff
good.
that they'll fall off of? And then he answered it in a cool way. So that was cool.
Yeah, he was good. He was
Nice.
cool.
Dude, let's throw that video in here.
Nah.
Yeah.
The audio is kind of trash. I'll show you after.
Oh,
I bet
nice.
there's a
Delete
clip
it.
somewhere
You
out
can
there
see.
that we can see. Because
If
I know
better,
there's
that
cameras
might
and
be.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I have it from like the side view on like an iPhone.
So good. Well, anyone else have any fun, interesting stories this week?
Anything kind of like, happened?
Anything you just touched yourself or like...
Oh, no, not that. Not. You had a story that you told me earlier.
About waffle stomping.
No, about your dentist trip.
Oh, yeah. I
That's so
I got a
gross.
story about that if anyone wants to hear that.
I think the waffle stomping story is a little bit more interesting.
I guess you could do that if you want to share.
This
Yeah.
was this was a couple of years back. I was maybe like too old to be doing this, but
Always too old.
I want to say I was 14.
Oh my God. You were 14
Maybe
when
like
you did this?
like 12.
Oh, he's
to
lowering
14.
it now. That was
12
14.
to 12.
It was probably 15, and he's lowballing us right off the bat.
No, I was like 12 to 14. It was actually in the bathroom in this loft over here, and I pooped in the shower, and I thought it'd be, instead of going outside of the shower and going to the toilet, I just Play-Doh'd it into a string so it would fit through the drain, and
Corbin, have you done this?
so
Is this relating to a past event for you too?
Of course it was you.
I was a lot younger than you, though.
I need to hear this now.
No, that's
How do you
just
guys
so
just
gross.
do this on the regular?
I don't. I was 10. I was in rehab
Lowball
with my
again.
mom.
13.
I was in 4th grade. Whatever age 4th grade is.
13 for you.
Dog, I'm not Ethan. I'm just kidding. But I was in rehab with my mom, and so it was me and my littlest sister and my mom. And I had a hard time doing the dirty back in the day.
Making dirty?
Yeah.
Okay. Doing the dirty is different.
I had a hard time making the dirty back in the day, and so I would
had a hard
hold
time
it. I
cutting
would
the
hold
bum
it as
rope.
long as possible, like literally as long as humanly possible, just because I. Okay, not as long as humanly possible.
You had fermented bum chili?
Oh yeah. Look, I had a lot of trauma as a child. All right, I've grown past it.
Did you know the
The
plumbers
only
by
thing I can
name?
control is holding in my dukes. Ah!
I gotta wait till I'm in a safe place to be able to take a dump.
Exactly.
His intestines went Super Saiyan.
But so we were in this, and it was like shared. So it was my family, and then like 2 other families all in one, like, and we all shared a bathroom. And
I would blame it on the other family's kid, dude.
they knew. No child, because the other families had like 4-year-olds. So
And they just went big orange kid.
problem was I didn't do it right.
What does
Just
that mean?
left it there.
Okay, hold on. We are skipping the important part. There's this bathroom that you guys all shared.
Yeah, and there was like I was in a hurry or something, and I was in the shower. I was like, I have to do it. I have to let one out.
You gotta set this bird free. This is so gross.
So I just let it out. And I just didn't know what to do, so I tried to use the water to spray it down. And later that day, my mom was like, "What did you do?"
Yeah, I did.
Wait, you didn't clean it up after? You just shat in a tub.
See, I at least had the courage to bare
I
minimum
wasn't about
walk
to touch it. That's so gross.
But you didn't like TP it and then
No,
throw it in
I
the
tried to like
toilet?
spray it. I sprayed it all like so it wasn't solid anymore.
Now the whole shower's brown.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just had clam chowder at the bottom. And then you didn't finish it? You did 80% and then quit.
Yeah. And one of the other parents was like, I just opened the bathroom. My mom was telling me, she was like, why would you do that? I was like, Mom, I'm traumatized. What do you want from me?
That is gross.
Anyways, that's the worst possible way to start a podcast.
How come there's always a poo story? There's a poo story
It's
every
either
time
throw
we
up
podcast.
or poo.
Just need to throw this at
Wrong.
the end.
The
of
last 2 episodes there wasn't. I was going to say, I'll probably throw this at the end, if at all.
Well, then, if that's the case, I got a story too.
All right, we're starting off with poo.
We were going to talk about music. We're talking about poo.
So while I was on ship or whatever, so I went on what's called a MEW, and so we're on this big freaking like basically transport ship, and we have like literally 3 stalls of bathrooms. That's it. Like 3 stalls of showers for like about 40 dudes. And so I guess somebody caught somebody else freaking taking a poop in the shower, a staff sergeant, and he like caught like one of the Lance Corporals or whatever.
Hold
and
on.
he like
How do
got
you catch
pissed.
someone pooing in the shower?
Well, the thing is, like, the shower curtains aren't like all the way like down to the ground, so there's like a gap. And like, the thing is, what's bad about yeah, and you can hear it too. So because like the bathroom, there's like
Grenade!
So the toilets would always get like basically clogged because everybody would be just taking these massive like
Yeah, you have ship
poops.
food, and you have a bunch of military guys that their diet is ice cream, jerky, and
No.
Skittles.
No, we were at past that point already, dude. We're at just plain ship food where it's like trash steak and you can't even get anything. And so it would be like clockwork. So every freaking 12 o'clock, the ship crew would always come up and like, they'd put this like hose on and it'd flush the system out and like get all that clog out and stuff every freaking day at noon. And so I'd make sure I'd poop in the morning and then after work in the evening. or just poop at night, and it's just so much easier.
How do you
anyway.
do that as a grown man?
Dude, this guy's like 22, 23.
No. Okay,
and
14?
he just took a Duke, and the staff sergeant, who's like freaking 30, sees it, and he's like, "You piece of garbage!" And he's like,
"You drop and you eat that."
He's like, "You nasty, disgusting thing," and he's like, "Pick it up and put it in the toilet." So the dude's like naked, holding his nuts, has to go over to the, grabs toilet paper, goes in the shower, finishes up, and at the point, everybody knows because they're yelling so loud, and you hear just, "What the frick?" from the bathroom and yelling, and you hear this guy getting chewed out for taking a poop in the shower. And he's like, the excuse too, he's like, "I gotta go, and the bathrooms are clogged," and he's like, "You're a nasty son of a bitch." And he's like, "You will never live this down in your life. I will make sure you remember this until you get out."
My favorite part about this is that we're brushing over the fact the staff sergeant just happens to look over and just happens to sit. He must have been looking in the direction.
Dude,
he must have been wiener scoping in order to find this. You don't just come across this.
I don't know.
You have to be looking in between.
Think about it. You're in the bathroom. The showers are going, and you just hear.
No, you just
You
hear
know how poo
You
sounds.
just hear the slap just on the floor.
You know how poo sounds.
And then you can smell it, and you're like, "Wait a second, that's not coming from the toilet area. That's coming from a freaking shower." So the staff sergeant's like, "This disgusting little fool," and he like looks down and sees the freaking turd in the corner, and he's like, "Well, the thing is, like, the freaking stall is like literally like a 3x3 square, so you can tell."
So he jumped him while nude. He's like, "You pick up that trash."
Yeah. And he's like, "You disgusting thing." And he's like, "Can you," because at that point, like in the Marine Corps, you've seen enough like dongs that it'll like sat you for the rest
Brendan
of your
likes
life,
penis.
and
Confirmed.
it'll just haunt you for the rest of your
Why?
I just want to know what his plan was. Was he just planning on leaving it in the
He was
shower?
planning on like mushroom stopping it down the drain.
The attaboy.
Like this said, the guy says it.
Attaboy. At least he's a man.
Grown man.
Give this boy a promotion. He's becoming an officer. The strategy, unreal.
But anyway, I think he got like punishment. He had to go on fire watch for like freaking like 3 days.
As
and
he
stuff.
should.
Yeah, and the like first sergeant got involved and was like, "You
Oh,
nasty shiz." He's like, "We're gonna do something about this." And so they're like, "For your punishment, you're gonna do that." So
Imagine-
you always remember it.
Imagine having Corbin's mindset, like, it is bad for him, horrible food, and you're like, "Oh man, like toilets are backed up." It's like, if I just sneak this white elephant Christmas gift out.
I was a traumatized 10-year-old.
But imagine having that in a man's mindset and then doing it and then getting caught mid-nude and then having to clean it up. Oh,
While you're freaking just nude.
this is of legend.
Dude,
This is like
it was
a friend
so
of a friend.
funny. I would never forget that story.
So
I can't
good.
believe I
That
told
is so gross.
Tim, you
That
got
is
poop
so
story?
gross. I don't want any more.
I want Tim Poop story.
I didn't want to start the
Actually-
podcast like
Oh, Tim's got
this.
Tim Poop.
So this was when I was like 5-ish times.
Again, low ball in it.
So,
That's okay.
Yeah. But it was just one time we were just out shopping. I think it was like for couches or something. And I just was like, I really need to poop. So I told my mom, and she was like, "Okay, talk to the manager people." And so I would go talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, we don't allow customers to use our bathrooms." And so I just like end up pooping right there.
You just like look him in the eye and be like, "Oh, I can't use your bathroom." Just poop right there on the floor.
We don't let customers.
Freaking power move. Just be like, "Oh,
Just, like,
you're not
shake
gonna
it out
let
of your
me?
leg.
Okay, watch this." Just-
Yeah.
Was Tim a long diaper wearer?
I don't think so.
Just
So
locks
no, it was
eyes
just-
and just.
Tapioca puddings his pants.
Have you guys seen that video of the kid in the grocery store where he just like hucks
Yeah, I
the
showed
log
you
on the
that.
floor?
He like walks and like shakes it out of his pant leg.
He
It's
shakes
so
off like a
gross.
fish when it comes out. and
What-
it was long. And then in that same video, a guy with flip-flops ends up stepping on it in the aisle. So what happened after you did this?
See, this is where I was young and it get fuzzy because it's just.
He just
probably got-
remembered the trauma.
Yeah, the trauma
His
just
young
all,
self.
like-
Oh, we're forgetting this half.
Yep. Basically, but I think my mom ended up like taking care of this everything.
You probably
and it was,
walked
like-
back and like they said they don't have
I
a
thi-
bathroom. She was like, "What?"
I do think I remember just like waddling back to my mom. Being
Tim
like,
turned
"I
into
need help."
Penguin.
It's so gross.
Ugh.
Oh my!
I
Why
pooped
did
in the
we-
pool before.
You what?
I pooped in the pool before.
Yo, I don't think I've even heard this story. How old were you this time?
18.
I don't remember,
Go ahead,
but like
lowball it.
growing up, we would host Spanish exchange students, and I grew up in California, so we had.
Oh,
a
this
pool.
was your home pool.
Yeah, pool in the backyard.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. A little better than public.
Yeah, if it was public, it'd be like, oh.
You can also get away with it in a public pool. You can be like, "Yo, some kid."
Just
Trav
like go
speaking
in the
from
kiddie pool
experience?
and blame it on one of the kids. Just like,
Ain't no kid made that log.
Although
that's a full-grown man.
although I've never done it, I've always had a plan B. So if it happened, I would have known what to do. I would have cracked the tab and like, okay, get a lifeguard's attention, blame it on a kid, point out a random kid, go to the showers and leave. Like,
Yeah, the problem is you're talking to the lifeguard. He goes,
sir, I can tell you're lying because it's dripping down your leg. Okay. Spanish exchange student.
Yeah, we would host a Spanish exchange student for like every year that I was in high school, just about. And I think I was probably like 14 in this one too. Same year.
"Waffle
This
stop."
was your peak. This was your peak.
I just let out like a nugget, and we were just playing water polo or something, and it touches the Spanish exchange student, and he like he's like freaking out, and he never looked at me the same since.
You had to live with him. This wasn't a getaway. He made eye contact with you later. Oh, I have a poo story. I witnessed a poo story. So we're at scout camp, and at the end of the scout camp, the plan was to go on a hot springs hike. So you would hike, and then the end goal would be a hot spring. So you'd hike in like your swimsuit, and then you'd have like a backpack with a towel. And it was a natural hot spring. And we went there, and it was like a rock formation. It was kind of like a rock formation, and water would come up out of it. And somebody installed like a rope that was tethered across the middle of it. And we're talking, this is probably maybe like 15 feet radius. No, not like diameter, so like 15 feet across. So it was really small. And there's this big chubby guy.
Dog, why are you talking about me?
So basically Corbin was in here. And I remember I brought goggles. And naturally sulfur, like it was a sulfur hot spring, so it just naturally smelled like poo. So I remember like putting on my goggles, and I would hold on to the rope, and then I'd push myself under the water. And you know, since it's hot water, it would make you rise, so it was really take some effort to kind of go. So I tried to like swim as far down as I could go. And I remember something like was coming back up to the top, and I was like, "Oh, what the heck was that?" It was the most interesting, like, it was a piece of poo, but it didn't look like it because it looked like wispy, kind of like a ring wraith's cape. Like you had the solid middle, but like the outside was like jellyfish around it,
because-
but it wouldn't like disperse, and it floated up to the top, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" But it would float. It was floating up to the top, and then it would stop. And then it sank back down. I remember like watching it. I was like, at first, this is before I knew it was poo. I was like, "Oh, what the heck was that?"
This is some artifact.
Yeah, it was like Indiana Jones, episode 6. It's happening. But I remember I was like, okay, and I swam back up, and I was holding onto the rope, and the big chubby guy was like with a group of friends, and he was laughing. And then I got out of the pool, and I jumped back in, and like some time passed, and I remember jumping in. And I looked over because the fat guy was holding onto the rope and he was kind of like weighing it down. So I was like, wow, what the F? Like the rope was above water, but when he would grab it, it would like dip into the water. And I remember looking at it, and then all of a sudden, the poo just rises right next to him and it's floating on top. And this is where I realized, I'm like, oh, that's poo, because it almost had like you know when you crack an egg and there's like
A yolk.
you're whisking eggs, and then there's like that clear stuff where like it's all stuck together. It's kind of like a clear coat.
The egg white.
It's not the white part of the egg. It's like really clear. I don't know,
The egg white. That's called egg white.
but it's in
The
its own
yolk and
part.
then the clear.
Yeah, but it's like in its own like bubble itself.
There's
time
only
you-
two parts of an egg.
No,
the
no,
yolk
but
and the
sometimes
white.
there's like if when you whisk eggs, there's
Yeah.
like a clear bubble.
That's
Oh,
that's
I
egg
know what
white.
you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? It's like
That's egg white.
slimy,
That's egg white.
but when you mix it, it's all together.
No, there's parts of egg white that doesn't mix. So like you're mixing it, and then there's
Okay,
parts of the white that
Yeah,
don't
the part
mix.
that's again, you know how
Yeah.
they like where you can pick it up with a fork and it's like all together. So that kind of sloughed off of the poo, but it was still connected to it. So once it like shed its skin, I was like, "Oh, that's poo!" And I remember I said it, and then everyone was like, "What?" And everyone looked around. And the fat guy was still talking, and then one of his friends was like, "Yo!" And then the guy turns around, and it's like half an inch from his back, and he starts flipping out like Tarzan with the elephant scene in the water. Like everyone's just freaking out. He starts flipping out in the water, and then I'm just like, I know one thing is I'm not getting close to him. And I remember I had my goggles, so he was splashing, and I sunk under the water, and I couldn't see it. I was like, where the heck is it? And then I went up top, and the guy was like trying to brush off his back as if it touched him. And I just remember like looking in the water, and I just couldn't see it. And I was like, somebody either hit it or it's on the edge of the pool. So I was like, that's it, I'm done with hot springs. Somebody took a like nasty number 2, and it kept like floating up and down. I assumed it was in
Should
there
have
for a
blamed
while.
it on the fat guy. Be like, he pooped his pants.
Dude,
And then
I
just
guarantee-
like, "Ah."
It was right next to him.
I would
Yeah.
guarantee it was probably done that day. Maybe by not that
Dude,
guy, but it floated next to
it
him,
was-
and
it
he
was-
just flipped out. And then after I knew it, I couldn't see it. Goggles under the water, surface, couldn't see it. So I was like, I'm done.
It was
I
on
ain't
your back.
I ain't risking it. To this day. It's like those old Chef Boyardee commercials where the can would follow you home rolling. It was following me home. It's still coming home to this day.
Why did we start the podcast like this? What the fetch?
Okay, I think we should start a new podcast.
I agree.
A new episode. 'cause
Yeah,
this
new
is
podcast.
like-
We're scratching it all.
Yeah.
Are we starting again?
Yeah, can we cut my stories out?
No.
I was 14.
That's too
We'll,
bad.
we'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.